a near fatal accident, and the choice between life and death. All of this and more in our chat on Real Life Angel Encounters. Angels, we all have them. They're our unseen guides, our companions, our teachers, and they're all around us. Sometimes they make themselves known in the most miraculous ways. Join me, Level 3 QHHT practitioner, angel communicator, and Reiki master, Christy Clemens Hoffman, with stories from real people who have experienced uplifting phenomena and real-life angel encounters. Hi there. Before we get into the episode, I wanted to share some really big news with you. That is, Real Life Angel Encounters, the book, is now available for pre-order. That's right. Real Life Angel Encounters, real people share real stories of miraculous encounters. Available from O Books, a division of Collective Ink Publishing, is now available for pre-order. The link is in the show notes, in the description. So please click that link, check it out, get your copy. The book will be available July 1st, but why wait? You will be in on the ground floor to get your copy of this book as soon as it is off of the presses. And if you would, please share the link. Please share the link and let people know that angel encounters are real. Angels are real. They're all around us and they love us. All right. So getting into this episode, this is a recent Zoom call that I had for clients and friends, and it's a chance for people to get together and chat about their own angelic experiences. I hope you'll enjoy it. And I plan to do these periodically in the future. So please watch the social media, join the Facebook group, Real Life Angel Encounters, and then you'll find out about upcoming angel chats. Hopefully you can participate next time. All right, enjoy the episode. Welcome. Thank you so much to talk about angels with me. It's one of my favorite subjects. And I would love for you all to introduce yourselves and let us know your preferred name, what part of town you are, because I know you're all part of the greater Kansas City metropolitan area. Like, what part of the town are you? And then why you were interested in talking about real life angels. So Anna, you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Aneth Wagoner. I live in Belton, Missouri. So just south of the KC area. I don't know. I saw this and it just caught my eye and I thought, I gotta jump on there. I'm going to say spirit guided. Spirit moved me to do this. So, I saw this and it just caught my eye. I'm really excited to be here and talk about angels.
That's fantastic. Now, you and I know each other from a long, long time ago.
I was thinking about that. And so, yeah, I would say 15 years. Probably since 2010. So maybe, 15 years.
That sounds about right. Absolutely.
You were still closeted.
Yeah, I was. Remember that?
Yeah.
I was a corporate person at Hallmark and closeted.
Yes.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. All right, Sandy, let's hear from you.
I'm Sandy Jorgensen, and I got so excited that it's angels because it's time that more people tell our stories, and I'm no longer closeted, but a little bit closeted, and more people have been telling me about their angel stories. So I thought, well, what a neat topic.
Oh my God, really? And I know you've got some stories that I want to get to.
Oh, God.
Sandy, you and I have known each other a long time too.
Yes. And I think I came to your house. It was in the evening, and I came with my daughter, and you gave us an angel reading, and it was so beautiful. I loved it.
Oh, well, I love you and your daughter. You two are beautiful humans. All right.
It's one to know one.
Well, you came to my house and you helped fulfill my daughter's dream of making triangle sandwiches to hand out to homeless people.
Remember that? But there were no homeless that day.
I know. We couldn't find anybody who would take our food.
And then, yes. Then we went to the Salvation Army to give them all the food, and we ended up coming home with pumpkin pies. And remember that because it was Thanksgiving, and they just had so many donations. So it was a win. But that was fun. We should do that again.
We need to do that again. That would be so much fun. We'll get a nice group together and assemble a whole bunch of kits, because I think we had like a little personal hygiene kit that we put in there.
Yeah.
Which and
And I
shit.
think the little oranges we had. And it was fun trying to Easter egg hunt them on November. In what was on Thanksgiving, everybody was taking care of it, which was a blessing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find people on the streets now, but no, we didn't.
Yeah.
I remember my daughter, she had woken up one day and she was just urgent about this. She says, Mama, can we make triangle sandwiches? I said, yeah, you want a triangle sandwich for lunch today? She says, no. Can we make them to give to the people on the street? Oh, and I just burst into tears. It was the sweetest thing.
Oh my God, to be a part of that. And now she's a senior about ready to graduate.
Crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts. All right, Julie, where are you from and why'd you join?
I'm
And-
in Overland Park and I decided to join. Christy invited me, and I feel that I have angels watching over me, as well as I feel my acts of kindness really help. That it just feels that the fact that I get to be an angel
Mm.
Yes.
where I see it. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're doing angel work and it's your natural calling.
I love that. We don't realize that, do we?
No, it could be from finding the kid lost in a store and getting them to the right people where they're safe, things like that. Or you see someone and they don't have enough money to pay for their gas. You give them their gas money. So you don't know what you've helped somebody.
Mm-hmm. Because
Mhm.
we've all had that too. Had somebody show up and just support us in that way.
Yeah.
Do you all listen to Real Life Angel Encounters podcast?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, if you listen to podcasts, if you like podcasts, I have a podcast called Real Life Angel Encounters.
Mm.
So beautiful.
And I take stories from people just like you ladies, and sometimes stories from the news, and sometimes authors also who write about angels. And we just talk about how angels do influence us, how they help us, how they show up for us. And it doesn't even have to be angels. Too. I mean, like Julie, like you were saying, sometimes it's a person who shows up out of the blue and helps us.
I was on my motorcycle one night and I was on Prospect and I was coming from 59th and Prospect going south. And I was at 63rd Street and this gargantuous SUV came to nowhere, ran the red lights,
Oh
and
my.
I stayed calm and I just kept riding. And they looked back like, what the heck? You could see that's kind of what they were saying. And then next thing I got up to 75th and Truce. And all of a sudden there was this motorcyclist who showed up. And we both ended up being at the stoplight. And he just like smiled. And I felt like he was this angel watching over me. I mean, I've been on the motorcycle set for a long time. I never seen this man before, never seen his bike. And then next thing you know, he had turned on Truth. It was just one of those wild things. And I got home and I was still so calm when I could have been dead.
Oh my God.
It was going so fast. And I stayed calm through the whole thing. It's like I knew like I'd been lifted and protected.
Right.
Your stories like that often.
Mm-mm.
Near death or near miss or near crash. Yeah.
It was wild.
You just when that calm feeling. I love that part. Oh, you just had that calm. You knew that things were going to be okay. You knew-
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And, I just said the thank you. And I said, thanks to the universe for the protection and the white light that surrounded me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Oh, we just had a comment from somebody. It says, thanks, but I'm just getting over some oral surgery. Well, that is too bad. I hope he's feeling better. I hope you're feeling okay. Well, I hope he'll listen anyway through the rest of this chat. So in Real Life Angel Encounters, there have been stories kind of like that where there's like near death. I remember y'all are from Kansas City, and you might know downtown there is an exchange where you're getting onto I-35 from the right hand, and then almost immediately there are two exits on Southwest Boulevard and Broadway across. Yeah. Oh, it's treacherous. I hate that part.
It is so scary.
Yes. And those are the two exits I need off of. That's how I get home. If I don't get off on those two exits, I'm going to wind up in Kansas somewhere, and have to backtrack. So I'm getting on the highway and it's rush hour. There's so much traffic and I need to get over fast. And I'm talking to Michael. If you guys know me, I just absolutely love Archangel Michael. He's my guy. I'm talking to my boyfriend, Michael. And I'm saying, Michael, you got to help me across the highway. Please help me get over there. I am white knuckling it and I need to get home. So I get over 3 lanes of traffic and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm safe. And I look over and there is a semi truck where I just came through. I don't know how that happened. And I thought, how did I miss that? I think I drove through it.
Your
So
boyfriend. Your boyfriend helped you out.
That's a big boyfriend.
Yes.
He's so powerful.
I'm so strong. My angelic boyfriend. Yeah. So Aneth or Sandy, do any stories come to mind from you? Like something miraculous or positive and paranormal?
I don't know who wants to go first.
Go ahead, Sandy. You're welcome to.
Well, I kept thinking, okay, it's only an hour show. Which angel story do I want it? That's the most important. But I've had so many, especially with 5 kids. I can't describe it. One of my sons, he was sleeping on the couch, and another son had just moved out to his own apartment, only 18 years of age, but he climbed out of his baby bed at 8 months, and he was walking at 10 and a half months. But my son, Paul, was on the couch sleeping, and he just jumped up and says, I have to go. And he left. It was about 11 o'clock at night. And I said, you're not leaving, where you going? And he wouldn't say. I guess later he said a woman was standing by him and says, go rescue Charlie. And he got to his apartment just when 3 guys were going, I don't know what. Anyway, they were pushing him in the car. He was already in the car. And according to the police, they had planned to kill him. But Paul had the Herculean strength and pulled him out. And I have found out since then that those 3 boys passed with a gang-related incident. So that was like a big angel moment. But the weirdest metaphysical one is, I know that angels help everybody. I'm trying to make this sound not weird, but my husband had gone to play golf. This is the weirdest one. I don't understand it. But he played golf. He left at, I don't know, it was about 6 a.m. because he likes to practice and get out there. And I was asleep and I heard knocking at the door, but I was also dreaming. And 2 white, very clear men. They're real tall. Since then, I've learned that they're called the tall whites, I think.
Oh,
But they were like 7 feet tall and very serious. And we did a lot of telepathy talking, and they said, how would you feel if your husband died today? Well, at the time, this is a horrible answer, but I said no, because I had non-refundable tickets to Connecticut and he was babysitting the kids. And I says, no, we can't, because I'm going to Connecticut. And they showed me a scene where there was a little green truck and all this grass, and it was a pile up. And I could see the truck going like this in the grass. And then I woke up, but I was kind of awake and kind of asleep. So I forgot all about it. Then my husband came home from golf and he starts talking about, oh my gosh, this terrible thing happened. And I said, don't tell me, let me guess, was it a truck? He said, how did you know? But he said this little truck got in the way. He could see people that were just crashing on the highway. And there was a semi coming at him. And he saw the bridge, a concrete wall. And he said he knew he was going to die. And he closed his eyes and floored the gas. And when he woke up, he had been levitated like in the grass. And he said, I have no idea how that happened. No idea. We were happy, but the joke of that is, what if I said, yeah, it's okay, he can die today, but they didn't make that choice. Now that's where Christy might come in. I want to know, why was I given choice?
Interesting. Apparently he has not fulfilled his mission and his duty. And have you've not fulfilled your mission with him. right?
Oh, it is so right.
And before we're born, Sandy, you only know this, that we have our lives planned out before we're even born. The main events, the major challenges that we have, things that we want to go through, things we want to experience. I mean, it can be anything that we want to experience. But then we also have, I call them exit plans that
Yes.
just could leave here, could leave there, or I could leave over. Kind of like you're driving to Columbia, Missouri, and there's 5 different exits. Well, I could take this exit. I don't think so. I don't want to take the next exit. I'll take the next exit, right? So this was an exit point, and apparently you had some say so because you had. But that's what I'm feeling.
And it would have changed the direction of all of our lives because the kids were all so tiny. And I mean, I have so many stories, but that was like a metaphysical one that I could never figure out. But what I think was an actual angel on Maine, I can't even, what's that? Anyway, by the plaza. And I had just gone to a party I got invited to in December. It was a 5-course meal that they had planned for these Chinese dignitaries, but they got sick. And so they couldn't come. So my friends had all this food. And she called and she says, would you like to come to this 5-course meal? And I said, sure. It was around Christmas. Well, anyway, I'm driving. It was unbelievable food. So it was so posh. And then I'm heading towards Maine and it was cold. I think it was like 10 degrees. But I see this woman on the corner wearing a long brown coat and how you could feel the difference. I feel like, oh, I went from all this wealth with all this abundance of food to seeing this homeless lady. And so I got so emotional and I mentally said to her, I will pray for you. And when I turned the corner and I was right directly like close to her, it was like a yield place. I wish I was good at knowing the streets. I know where it was off of Main, but she looked at me and she nodded and she said, thank you. And then I turned around. I mean, I looked in my mirror and she was gone. And so I just wondered, she was just there to teach me compassion. I have no idea. And as I'm telling you this, my legs are getting goosebumpy. So that's usually like a wow.
Yeah.
Long brown coat. She's probably in her 30s. And the kindness that she gave me on her face. And she just did, the namaste. And she said, she lifted it really clearly. Thank you. And I just cried all the way home. It was such one of those moments.
Yes. I had a moment kind of like that. I was coming back from my therapist and I was driving down 71 Highway, got to the plaza area, 71 where it meets, I think it's Emmanuel Cleaver Boulevard. And there's this man standing on the side of the road on the corner. And he had a sign just asking for some help or assistance or whatever. And here I was bawling my eyes out. And how it goes sometimes. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to have to look at this guy and he's going to see that I'm just a wreck, ugly crying. And I kind of look over, he just nods and he goes,
oh gosh.
And I knew right then, he just like taps his chest and points to the sky. And I knew right then it was Archangel Michael.
Oh, right.
The way, I mean, I can't remember who said it, but how you just know. Yeah. Anna, do you have any stories like that to share?
I do. So I graduated from UMKC with a degree in in psychology. I was going to go back and get my master's, but it was like, I was 22. I needed a break. So I worked at a psychiatric office. And that's when I realized, I don't think that this is really what's meant for me, that line of work. I knew I needed to be in healthcare, but it wasn't maybe that particular mode. Anyway, I was fussing and talking to God and having developed some IBS. You know how it goes. It's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I doing here? Da, 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 da. During this time, I missed a lot of subtle cues from God and the angels and team members that support you. I just really missed them. And a gentleman came into our office and he comes to the window where I was working. He says, I'm having a heart attack and I'm going to die. And me and my coworker are like, okay. And the doctor standing behind me is like, oh, okay, have a seat. I'm going to the bathroom. We work in a psych office, right? The guy sat down on the couch, had a seizure and died.
Oh my gosh.
I called 911 twice. It took 45 minutes for the paramedics to get there. My coworker, she knew CPR. I didn't know CPR, nothing. So they're working on him. I didn't know CPR. It was like the most surreal thing. And where our office was, had this guy gotten out of his vehicle and gone left instead of right, he was
Oh.
1,000 feet from the ER at Research Medical.
Whoa.
And he walked into our weird little office tucked away.
Hmm.
Within 2 weeks, I was getting ready to start my nursing school career. And I've been a nurse now for 25 years. It was like the hand of God came down. It was like, okay, you have missed the signs.
Oh,
And
it's beautiful.
this human being, his wife called and she's like, he was never sick a day in his life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was profound and it completely redirected my life. So that's probably my biggest angel support from the unseen experience that I've had. My daughter, she would talk about Angel Mac to my husband when she could start verbalizing. And she would say, Daddy, I'm playing with Angel Mac. And it was always when I wasn't there because I believe in this. My husband's a skeptic. Cool. So she would talk to him. She was supposed to be a twin, and her sister, Mackenzie, demised in utero, but she'd come visit Ashley and Ashley would play with Angel Mac. You know, so there's so many experiences through life. Sometimes it's hard to see it though. But I have a few, you know, like the big ones. It's like, oh, I get it. And my mom was very in tune. And she absolutely was like, that angel that came and sat down in the office, that was meant for you.
Yeah.
So I'm
So-
glad I could share that with you. I didn't, yeah. Anyway, thank
Mm.
you.
It was a proverbial 2x4.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
will-
Literally.
yeah, you can't ignore this. Don't ignore this sign.
And yeah. And then I got my IBS went away.
Oh my gosh, you're doing your mission.
Yes. Yes. Like I was always kind of sickly. And when I was little, we would go to my mom's friend's house and she was astrologer and she's intuitive. And anyway, I can remember when I was little, she looked at me and she says, you know, you will either heal or be healed.
Mm.
That's your choice.
Wow. Wow, she was so right. And what is a kid going to do with that? A kid's not going to understand
Right.
years and years later. That is impressive. But, you know, I think your point about these taps on the shoulder can be very subtle, easy to miss, easy to miss, but they can come in so many different ways. But, you know, if you're not open to it, if you're not kind of focused on what you're doing and not paying attention to what's going around you, it's easy to miss. Yeah. Julie and Sandy, do you have any feelings that you've gotten from your guides trying to get your attention?
Well, I think that I feel like trying to get me to see life in a different perspective.
Hey, tell me more.
Well, I think that with kindness, you know, it's like we have to go through life with such kindness and patience, and to know that we do have to be grateful for every little thing we have. You know, I just feel that I just get it going and I start doing and I think it should be. And then I realize, no, that's not how it is. You've got to slow it down and you need to see the bigger picture. One of my coworkers came to start working with me and she listened to books all the time. Well, I wasn't doing that. And since I started listening to books, where it has opened my mind and helped me to have some of that perspective, and books that have come to me, why that they've come to me. Like this woman, Octavia Butler, and she wrote the parables of a sower and the parables of talent. And it's so intuitive. And I take it as I see what she was saying and I see it in its bigger form of how to apply it in today's world. She's giving us warning of what's to come.
Right.
And how can we be ready for it? And what can I do? And how can I help others move forward too? You know, we're not supposed to go through life alone. And we need each other, you know, just like all the angels, all the different angels, they work together.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for this coworker because we talk about different things about kindness. How can we be kind today? Things like that. It has really helped in calming me as well.
Mhm. Well, I think too, when we just know that there is something else out there, when we realize we're not alone. I kind of jokingly say I'm on a mission from God, or mission to take over the world and let everybody know that they're not alone. I
Right.
think it's a big thing that none of us are alone. And current events are scary right now. And then just to even think that there could be some sort of big
Yeah.
purpose right now, something else going on. Yeah, Sandy, what are you going to say?
Well, what I've noticed is what my guides have told me is try not to go there. Try to just look. If you have nothing but just like a piece of bread, just go, oh my gosh, thank you for this piece of bread and that I have a toaster. Things like that to raise our vibration through happiness.
Yes.
And I get told, like I will give you an example. This is the way the angels talk to me. They'll say, I'll be thinking of a certain person that I just had problems with, but it's about returning to love and acceptance. This voice will say, you need to go to natural grocers. You need to go to natural grocers. I don't need anything. Go to natural grocers. And then when I'm walking in, the very person who I have trouble with is coming out the door. And it was kind of stressful, but we ended up hugging and there was so much peace. And my recent one was, Christy, we worked the 3-day fairs,
Oh,
the
yeah.
psychic fairs. We just hear so much. And then I was just feeling like, oh, I can't help the whole world. You'd like to, but the struggles. And so this voice said, you need a plant. And so I said, well, I could use plants. We want you to just go to Home Depot. But I have a Home Depot by my house, which is like maybe 10 minutes away, but I was told to go to the one that was farther away. And I went and this was like last year. And I was going through so much, just changes with my mom, with a nursing facility. And it was just rough. And the guilt. And they kept saying, let go of the guilt. But I go in the garden center and there's this beautiful woman. And because see, I got a rash from the stress. I still have it.
Oh,
And I was noticing she's a Black woman. She had the most beautiful skin, unbelievable. And I didn't say anything to her. She came up to me and she says, oh, child. I used to cry but she says, when I was a little girl, it was the Black women that made me stronger. They helped me where my neighborhood. So I went there and she was working there and she says, oh, child, you work for the same person I do. And I thought, I don't know who she's talking about. She says, I could tell that you're one with God. And I'm trying not to cry, that feeling. And she says, I'm going to tell you a story. She says, I don't know why I haven't told anybody this, but I feel like I need to tell you. She said that when she was younger, she was hardcore. She drank and she smoked. And she says, I was with multiple men and she was at her boyfriend's house smoking a cigarette and she walked into the kitchen and something with the gas, but anyway, she caught on fire and she is screaming and she says, well, she felt like God was mad at her. She said everything on her was on fire and she was screaming and she got mad and says, fine, just kill me. And at that instant, the flames all went away and she didn't have a scar. They don't know she's a miracle. And I bought my little $12 plant. She gave me a big hug and she said, you just keep doing God's work. It's going to be hard, but we can do this.
Wow.
And to me, I mean, just people like that to me are big angels. And you can't even explain it. I always ask God for signs. And I was in a tunnel where it's dark. And I guess it's maybe dangerous, but I try to walk 3.5 miles a day. And I was thinking of a blue jay feather. And there was a blue jay feather in that darn tunnel. And I don't know. It could happen, I guess. But for me to ask it, and then there it is, they're all over. They're helping us. And,
oh,
when you've raised teenage boys, especially the Jorgensens, there's a lot of angels. And one time, I was driving to pick up my sons I was late. I couldn't find my way. It was like they gave me amnesia. And then all of a sudden, my whole car smelled like beer. And this car went through, it ran the light, and it could have killed me had I not. The timing, it's just all about the timing. I can't even describe it. But nobody was drinking in my car, but it transferred to my car. I could smell it. And so I think in that instant, I was their angel to pray for them so they would be saved.
Mhm.
We're all angels
Mhm.
without knowing. You know what I mean? Without knowing it.
You know, when people show up, like your woman at the Home Depot, or there's a story from Real Life Angel Encounters where the storyteller showed up for a woman who was a little bit lost after her husband had and this woman storyteller was helping her. And that turned out to be such a heartfelt, engaging. I mean, she was clearly an angel for this other woman. So it's not that the angels are showing up and in these people. You know, I told the story of, you know, Archangel Michael on the street corner giving me a sign, but they're not always angels in a human seeming package. But sometimes the angels, your guides, whoever you are believing in, will influence you to be in a certain place at a certain time
Yeah.
and kind of suggest to somebody, oh, don't turn left, turn right instead, right?
Always.
Put us in the place there. Not that we are them, but they inspire us to be there, right? Which can be so beautiful.
I do have kind of a scary one.
Oh, well, let's hear
I
it.
don't want to. I don't want to hog up because I know everybody's got stories. But it was a home, that beautiful home. 21 people were there. I think it was 21, but from all over the world. And it was like a makeshift ashram. I mean, they were from Africa, Mexico, all over. And I was there for 21 days to just assist and help them. But I've heard that light likes to be attacked sometimes.
Mm,
And so I would see all kinds of strange things. And I got in my car. I was exhausted. And I did hear something in the back seat, my one and only time. It was dark. It was definitely negative, and it was growling. And so I called my really good friend. She's no longer alive, but I called her up because she's a prick. And I thought she's going to help me. And all she could say was, Sandy, who is that in the back seat? Who is that? And she hung up. So when I came home at 10:30 at night, my daughter, Hannah, was still living at home. She woke up from a deep sleep. A woman had woke her up and said, do not let your mother in the house unless she's saged. And she was all groggy, teenage. Well, I think she was 18, 19. Anyway, she was kind of annoyed. And she says, Mom, there's a lady that says you can't come in the house. And I fell to the concrete and just started weeping. So I spread eagle and she saged me so that I wouldn't bring, thing in the house. We're rookies. So when my girlfriend called, she says, there was a growling man in the background. So I don't know who that was. I don't, I kind of have it was just a dark energy, but the light protected us.
it's beautiful.
Maybe this is a TMI, but yeah, I really feel like these stories need to be shared more so people will start raising their vibration and knowing that there is help and that you're not alone.
We're not
Oh,
alone. Never alone. Never alone.
hey,
I agree with you, Sandy. That's why I started the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast. This was, I think, 2021, and it was during COVID. And if you were talking about getting those taps on your shoulder, my guides were tapping me on the shoulder. You need to start a second podcast. I'm like, I already have a podcast. Why do I need a second one? Got to tell stories of angels. You got to do this. I'm like,
beautiful.
for that. They're like, no, you really need to do this. At the time, well, I still do listen to Jim Harold's Campfire podcast, Virtual Campfire. And so Jim Harold is a lovely, lovely man. And he's the OG paranormal podcaster. But he has a similar show where people call in and tell their spooky stories like you would around a campfire. I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I want it to be like Jim's show, but I want it to be all positive, all.
Right.
And the thing is, when you start asking people,
Oh, yeah.
find out how many people have these things, no matter how brief, right?
Right.
All have these stories. All of us. All right. Julie, Aneth, any signs to you from your guides where you felt like they were around you or sending you a sign?
Well, I think that I know that that it works. I know that when you call and you surround yourself the white light, or when I've come for Reiki work and I'm carrying such heavy negative energy that I don't need, I'm carrying everybody else's, and that how much lighter I've been lifted and how much I feel the spirit or feel that I am on the right path.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that, I've come in and had healing work with you and that they've done that, you've put the protection around me and pulled a lot of that negative out. And so that I didn't start spiraling down into it.
Mm.
And I then could start into, then I come home and the next day it's like I'm back to feeling lighter, lifted, and that I can share that and that I can set those parameters up so I don't have to take those negative energies on. And I think again, it's asking for the white light of protection. I think that it's good to be checked in on and made sure that you are and that you have a source to help you. That's what you do in your angel work that you do and the angels that you call upon. And it's like it allows, because I'm supposed to be positive. I'm supposed to act in kindness. I'm supposed to spread the energy of this love and light, with from me to share with others. Maybe that's why they feel they come to me with so much negative energy, because they know I'm there to help them to maybe look at things differently, to change that and try to be living example of it. Right?
Because when I mean, there's very little you need to do, but just being in that energy of someone who is tapped into their guides, tapped into the light, someone who is embracing this love and this positivity. I mean, it's palpable and it's like contact high
Yeah.
that you just get it from being around somebody who's got that uplifting vibration.
Well, I can tell from the first time that I went that how the energy in my workplace changed.
That's wonderful.
And I come back with an answer for them, but not telling them how, just hearing them and letting them say, I hear you. And I'm sorry. And have you thought about doing this?
Well, and being a hairdresser, Julie's a hairdresser, and you're all up in people's crown chakras, right?
Mm,
Plus, people tell their hairdresser things they don't tell other people,
yes.
right? Because you're not looking your hairdresser face to face. You have that little bit of distance, you might be looking them in a mirror, but it's not quite like it feels confessional to talk to somebody face to face, but when you're faced away from them, it feels a little bit different, right? And so that's
Yeah.
it's a secret spot you occupy there.
Yeah. And it's interesting is that watching the other people's clients, always, you can tell the ones that want to be in my chair.
Mm.
About the energy that I possess or the care and the attention, they so are needing and wanting.
Yeah, absolutely. That type of energy is something that we recognize whether we know it or not.
Mm.
We just recognize when someone is in that positive frequency versus a negative frequency, and then we want to be around that. We want to share that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I bet Anna can tell that from her patients that want, that are in her room, and that's like they want her. They don't want anybody else. They want that healing that she provides.
Yeah, so we kind of operate in the same territory of we are in other people's energy. And so it took me a long time to realize that I have to know my own energy and be able to then feel other energies.
Mm-hmm.
I teach nursing school now, so I'm really good about protecting myself. Now, there's one place that I go to for clinicals, and it has got such a heavy energy. I'm mala up and I've got all the things, black onyx. I mean, if I can put it on somewhere, I'm going to, because it's really heavy energy. But I find that I pick up on energies in students, which makes sense, that have a lot of dissonance.
Mm.
They're in nursing school, but that is absolutely not what they want to do.
Right.
It's very clear to me. And I'll say, let's talk about, why do you want to be a nurse? Oh, because all of my family is nurses and firemen. Everybody's a nurse. It's like, well, do you really want to do that? Well, yeah. It's like, no. So that to me is like, I'm not really sure well, I can't guide them. I just pray for them.
Right. They'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I think that, you've been doing this long enough to where you can recognize when somebody's energy shifts in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the kindest thing we can do is to help somebody redirect in that way, right? Or just ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much in asking questions. How do you feel about that? What will you do next? Right? To kind of help them with that. Sandy, I know you've got lots more stories. You and Hannah have been through so many crazy things. Anything else that you think is something to share?
My recent one is, my mother is in a facility for dementia. Although she's still pretty with it, but she's in a wheelchair. One of the ladies that works there, she takes me in the back room and she says, I've got to talk to you because I know you know these things. How they know, like you said, I don't even advertise, but they have that weird sense. You know how that is, girls. But she said, there is a lady that every time somebody dies, she walks around the back of the facility and she's always barefooted and she's holding a crystal. And she says she's stealing their energy. Well, if you know anything about energy, going into a facility like that is draining. High schools, hospitals, draining. So I said, I'm not going to say her name, but I said, I doubt very much that she's here to steal their energy. If they pass, she's probably a death angel. Or she goes, how does she know? She's always shows up after somebody has passed. So I kept thinking, I can't wait to see her. I have seen her twice. She's a real slender, dark-skinned woman. She's even walked barefooted in the snow. And sure enough, she's always holding a crystal, a big crystal. And she just walks back and forth, but she's a mystery. Nobody knows who she is, where she comes from. And there's that facility. Then there's the cancer place right next door, the kidney dialysis place across the street, a pet hospital. So there's all this loss, and I feel it when I drive in there. And to me, I just think she's a mystery to me. I want to get to know her, but every time she's there and I want to go, when I park the car and go talk to her, poof, she's gone.
Is this a physical person or is this someone that you said?
No, she's physical. She's been seen by this lady that works there. People don't understand and they think she's stealing their energy. And then that's why the person died. I don't know. It is a mystery. And I'd like to maybe if anybody could know more about that kind of stuff. But
and has an answer, we would love to hear it.
She looks like she's in prayer. She really does.
I'm hearing that Archangel Azrael had sent her. And again,
beautiful, Christy. Thank you.
And of course, this is something where, since she is physical, not that she's an angel, but Archangel Azrael is like, okay, time to go, time to do your job.
Oh, that gave me the willies. I mean, the goosey bumps, Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Boy, thank you everybody for joining in on this tonight. This is something I would like to do regularly. Would you be interested in doing this regularly? Like if you saw this pop up again, would you do it again?
Yes.
I would too. This was a great topic, Christy.
Isn't it fun?
Yes.
I agree. This is a great.
Finally.
We need to do something to help people in these times, right? And these positive glimmers, these positive stories. I think it is so essential. I'm hoping that with your permission, we can make this part of the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast and make it an episode. If that's
Oh, how fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So there's that. So please, if you're tuning in, you're listening here on Facebook, please go listen to Real Life Angel Encounters podcast. It's been around for, well, we're on the second season. And after a bit of a hiatus, like about a year or so hiatus, we're back and bringing new stories every other week. This podcast comes out every other Tuesday in rotation with the Radiate Wellness podcast. So every Tuesday, there's new content from me. And the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast depends on stories from people like you. I mean, it doesn't matter how brief the story is, we all have them. And, I string them together to make an episode. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog groomer, your hairdresser, tailor, your neighbors, everybody, because then we get more stories. And the Real Life Angel Encounters podcast is going to be a book. Very
Yes, congratulations.
thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
My first here in the United States, and the end of June, I'm not sure the exact date, in the UK. Real Life Angel Encounters, real people tell real stories of miraculous events, will be out from O Books, which is a division of Collective Publishing.
Oh, Christy, that's wonderful.
That is awesome. That is exciting.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting too, because more people will know about the miracles that happen in people's lives. You don't have to be Joan of Arc. You don't have to be anything special. You don't have to be the Pope.
No.
You have these miraculous events. So thank you for, the kind words about the book and the podcast. And I just feel like it spreads the word and spreads the message. So
Amen.
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 Yeah.
Well, ladies, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us tonight.
Have
All
a
right. Well, thank you for having us.
nice meeting, everybody.
Nice meeting you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and follow, and be sure to share this episode. The more people who know about this podcast, the more great story submissions we get. Have a story to share? Email your own real life angel encounter to angelencounterspodcast@gmail.com or visit radiatewellnesscommunity.com/real life angel encounters podcast. Or join our Facebook group and continue the discussion. Want to know what your angels and loved ones have to tell you? Schedule an appointment with me at radiatewellnesscommunity.com. A special thanks to James Wheeler for the original music and to Tiffany Baumgarten for the logo design.